Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we're going to be going through your Night of Champions 2025 fan predictions. I do this a week before every WWE Premium Live event on Twitter, so if you want to be part of these for the next event, make sure that you're following there. I grabbed a bunch of your predictions, so I'm here to critique them, comment on them, but probably roast how bad they are. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, folks, let's see what you submitted. Don't think it's likely to happen, but for the sake of wildness, just throwing it out. Punk wins the WWE Championship, but Rollins is gonna cash it in, fueling the rivalry. Now, I don't necessarily think that anything needs to fuel the rivalry of Seth Rollins and CM Punk. I feel like that rivalry is already as fueled as it's ever going to be. That being said, I would be shocked if they don't at the very least tease a Seth Rollins cash-in in this match, regardless of whether CM Punk wins or not. I am absolutely expecting to hear "burn it down" or Braun and Braun security to come out at some point during this match. Listen, I'm not expecting the match between John Cena and CM Punk to be particularly very good. I know that it's going to be fueled a lot by nostalgia, but I also think it's going to need to be fueled by a lot of shenanigans, and I feel like Seth Rollins and company can add a lot of those said shenanigans. In a magical world where CM Punk actually does dethrone John Cena in Saudi Arabia, which I just don't think is very likely, I have to assume that the possibility of Seth Rollins cashing in on CM Punk immediately after winning isn't even a possibility, it's basically a guarantee. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship would absolutely be a SummerSlam Night 2 main event closer type of match, which is what WWE is severely lacking right now. And I say severely lacking because when I look at everything else, there's sure Cody Rhodes and John Cena, but we already saw that and it wasn't particularly very good. Is the name power alone good enough to main event Night 2 of WrestleMania? Sure, but it'll be at the very least a little bit underwhelming nonetheless. But CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, even though we've already seen that a few times, weirdly enough, on episodes of Monday Night Raw, for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, absolutely that should close the show. But as you said, I don't think it's likely to happen. I think that John Cena is going to retain. I think he's going to probably screw CM Punk in some way, shape, or form. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if because of a cash-in, CM Punk might lose because of a distraction of Seth Rollins coming out to do a fake cash-in or a failed cash-in in some capacity. So yeah, I'm expecting John Cena to retain is basically what I'm trying to say in a long-winded version. CM Punk will have his shoulders up or foot on the rope that the referee doesn't see. Therefore, the 3 count will be made similar to SummerSlam 2011. That could be interesting because it is a callback to something that they did back in 2011, and this feud certainly is a lot about callbacks and a lot about fueling nostalgia. But in a world where CM Punk loses but doesn't actually lose properly, like you said here, has his foot on the rope, his shoulder isn't actually down, whoever wins the King of the Ring tournament would maybe face John Cena and CM Punk. Imagine if it's Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk versus John Cena. That all of a sudden makes the rematch between John Cena and Cody Rhodes a lot more appealing when you add an extra factor named CM Punk. Listen, I'm just not sold on the idea of just running back Cody Rhodes versus John Cena because the first time was just such a dud. Your first impressions are everything, and the first impression of that was garbage. Cena not only wins, but blows a kiss to CM Punk. Ooh, imagine if he actually ran through the crowd as well, maybe through the shenanigans of a failed cash-in. John Cena is able to escape through it all, and he blows up kiss to CM Punk a la 2011. That'd be kind of nice. Dominik will beat AJ clean. Finn will get mad or jealous and attack Dom. I do foresee a world where Dominik defeats AJ Styles. However, I don't know that it's necessarily going to be clean. I just don't see AJ Styles at this point in his career being Intercontinental Champion. I just don't know what that would do for his career. I feel like the answer is it does absolutely nothing. In fact, if anything, it would just hurt the blossoming career of Dominik Mysterio. So I have to agree with you that Dominik is going to win. I just have a hard time seeing how he wins clean considering he's dirty Dominik Mysterio. However, now that Liv Morgan isn't going to be around, maybe it kind of forces him to have to win clean. I do foresee that at some point this summer, we will have the Finn Balor and Dominik Mysterio storyline really start to heat up. Although maybe that's up in the air now too with the Liv Morgan injury because that just changes so much about what WWE was planning. It's clear that Liv Morgan was going to be involved in whatever was going on there between Dominik Mysterio and Finn Balor, but like now, I don't know. But I'll agree with you. I think that Dominik Mysterio is going to retain, but I think he's going to find some dirty way to win. Probably the Judgment Day, let's be honest. Punk gets taken out the night before Night of Champions, and Cena faces Ron Killings instead. This will allow Punk to avoid working Saudi. He instead challenges Cena either at SummerSlam in a triple threat or a Clash in Paris. Well, your prediction like physically cannot happen. If he were to get taken out the night before to avoid Punk going to Saudi, the night before, that's Friday Night SmackDown in Saudi. So right away, your prediction just simply cannot work from a geographical standpoint. I also think it would be hella cheesy to advertise CM Punk, to sell tickets off the back of CM Punk being advertised for the card, off the back of one last ride between these two gunslingers of the 2010s, John Cena and CM Punk. Saudi crowd probably spend a good amount of money to want to see that match in particular, and for it to just all of a sudden get pulled, you know, under the rug of them simply because Punk doesn't want to work Saudi to keep his morals intact would be really lame. Like, if Punk didn't want to work Saudi for his moral standpoint, then just like don't advertise working Saudi. Punk has to work it. Punk absolutely has to work this match. There's no getting around it now. I think Liv Morgan will beat Io Sky and become the new Women's World. Oh wait, never mind. Pain. I know Sophie is a big Liv Morgan fan, and I know there's a lot of Liv Morgan fans around the world that are bummed. I'm not the biggest Liv Morgan fan, but I've become a Liv Morgan believer. You can go back and find clips of being a Liv Morgan denier, but now, after seeing what she has done over the last year and a bit, I am so sold on Liv Morgan. It's kind of crazy. People are able to change their minds and opinions. Wow, crazy. I am wondering, was the plan to run Liv Morgan versus Io Sky at Night of Champions? Because from the other standpoint, because Liv Morgan was doing so much, it looked like they were setting up the Liv Morgan and Nikki Bella angle, whether it's a tag match or singles match, for that to be an Evolution, considering the whole antithesis of that feud was the fact that Nikki Bella didn't credit Liv Morgan as being amongst the best to come about from the evolution of women's wrestling. So where was Liv Morgan versus Io Sky supposed to take place? And the only thing I can think of right now, because I doubt that it was supposed to be Saturday night's main event a few hours before the Evolution show, I think it was supposed to be at Night of Champions. So then that leaves the question, if it was supposed to be a Night of Champions, do we have enough time to do something for Io Sky to have a match at Night of Champions? If so, like, I think the only person that I can throw out there right now, and I know this is totally me being selfish, is Stephanie Vaquer. Or maybe they just scrap the Io match altogether and do something else. I don't know. A lot of things got completely thrown up in the air, completely scrapped with the Liv Morgan injury. She was just so important and pivotal to WWE storytelling for this summer. Cody Rhodes pins Randy Orton and is your 2025 King of the Ring. Well, I did ask for bold predictions, and you decided to give me maybe the most vanilla prediction that there is. However, there's never anything necessarily wrong with vanilla. If it makes sense for Cody Rhodes to win the King of the Ring, then I guess you should go with it. I still think it's kind of weird that they're trying to give Cody Rhodes a King of the Ring victory to earn a match against John Cena, considering the fact he was one of the longest reigning WWE champions in recent memory, holding it for over a year, and you know, pinning the current champion at Money in the Bank. Why doesn't he just have a match? Why are we making Cody Rhodes go through King of the Ring, kind of take a championship opportunity that you could organically give somebody else, when you could literally just hand Cody Rhodes his SummerSlam rematch against John Cena, and all of us would probably just say, yeah, that like 100% makes sense. Just do that. My prediction is that Cody Rhodes is going to win the King of the Ring. I think that picking anybody else would be overthinking it. It'd be cool if it was anybody else, but I think they're just going to go with the safest option here. Like I've said in numerous videos, it seems to me that it's pretty clear that TKO is dead set on doing Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Again, maybe they want to fix the wrongs that they created at WrestleMania 41. I don't know. But I can see it a mile away, and I'm not going to overcomplicate that prediction. I also think that Cody Rhodes is going to win the King of the Ring. CM Punk beats Cena, saves wrestling, and we get Cody versus Punk at SummerSlam. This is interesting. So a CM Punk victory without Seth Rollins teasing a cash-in or cashing in, I just don't see happening. I feel like those two have to go together. Seth Rollins' character and the reason why this version of Seth Rollins exists is purely because of his hatred of CM Punk, making sure that wrestling is not shaped by the CM Punks of the world. So why wouldn't Seth Rollins prevent CM Punk from becoming WWE champion? That's why I think they just go so well together. Not only do I think they go well together, I feel like they almost kind of have to go together. But in a world where CM Punk just beats Cena, in a world where nobody cashes in on CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, it was already kind of hinted that we're gonna have a match between these two eventually, whether it's SummerSlam or WrestleMania. I'm not gonna necessarily fight against that. I'm kind of down. Roxanne Perez wins Queen of the Ring by beating Alexa Bliss in the final. I'm also curious if the Liv Morgan injury changes anything with Roxanne Perez. Would a Roxanne Perez Queen of the Ring victory hit anywhere near as hard if we don't have the Liv Morgan storyline, with Liv Morgan hovering around, with Dominik Mysterio maybe shifting his eyes towards Roxanne Perez with Liv Morgan right there? I don't know. I just don't feel like it would hit anywhere near as hard with Liv Morgan not there, which is why that Liv Morgan injury just hurts so many things. But I could see Roxanne Perez winning. I also could see Alexa Bliss winning. I could see Asuka winning, but I just think it's going to be Jade Cargill. Just like the Cody Rhodes win, I think they're going to go with something safe. Asuka beats Jade Cargill, challenges Io, and then Jade challenges Tiffany at SummerSlam, where Naomi cashes in. I don't hate this because Asuka right now, even though, you know, she just returned, it's exciting to have her return. She's got her old theme back. She needs a boost, all right? Her last run wasn't particularly very main event worthy, unfortunately. So giving her the Queen of the Ring gives her that storyline boost of confidence for us to really get behind another Asuka main event run. Meanwhile, Jade Cargill, although it's the safe option to have her win the Queen of the Ring, she doesn't need that. I feel like you could just run Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton for the championship, and I think people would probably just sort of accept it without necessarily having to make Jade Cargill go through the hoops of Queen of the Ring. Basically what I'm saying, in terms of making somebody feel championship ready or championship worthy, I feel like Asuka kind of needs this more right now than Jade Cargill. Cena delivers another stinker of a match. Oh wait, you said bold predictions. Well, Matt, you smartass, let's just look at the John Cena heel run matches, okay? Sure, I'll give you WrestleMania 41, stinker, all right? The Backlash match against Randy Orton, banger. I don't want to hear anything about that. The Saturday night's main event match against Ron Killing's R-Truth, it was 4 minutes, but it was a perfect 4 minutes, a catalyst for some fantastic stuff. And then the tag team match at Money in the Bank wasn't like bad at all. I'd say it was a good match. It was a very exciting finish as well, with a very memorable twist. So I would say that Cena is 3 versus 1 in terms of decent, good matches versus stinkers. And honestly, I'm also expecting a stinker between John Cena and CM Punk, but I think that nostalgia and shenanigans are going to carry this to actually being pretty good. I thought that John Cena versus Randy Orton was going to be god-awful, and it was really, really fun. So I'm choosing to be optimistic. I think that John Cena versus CM Punk is going to be good. Seth Rollins doesn't cash in on John Cena, instead saves it for Gunther versus Goldberg, where Goldberg wins and cashes the case in. If Goldberg somehow wins, I already think that's a travesty, but if he does win, I certainly hope that Seth Rollins immediately cashes in. We do not need a Goldberg run. I don't care that it would only be 3 weeks going into SummerSlam. We cannot have Goldberg in 2025 even so much as sniff the World Heavyweight Championship, for the love of God. Cena wins. Seth tries to cash in. Roman returns and costs Seth. A Roman Reigns return, I do feel, is impending. I don't think that Roman Reigns is just going to return again at SummerSlam. With how WWE is building SummerSlam to be this thing that might be on par with WrestleMania, I think you need a Roman Reigns match. And for Roman Reigns to have a match, you got to make Roman Reigns return. And I don't know that they're going to have Roman Reigns return at Saturday night's main event to only do a 3-week build to his SummerSlam match. I feel like if Roman is returning, you might be onto something. It might be at Saturday night's main event. I said Saturday night's main event. It might be at Night of Champions. There's a lot of PLE shows with the word night in them, so now I'm getting confused. Look, Roman Reigns returning at Night of Champions would be kind of fire, and it would actually give WWE a good amount of time to actually build towards something between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, something that isn't just rushed within 3 weeks after Saturday night's main event. So I don't know that this will happen, but I feel like it would be good, and if it does happen, it would make sense, and it would allow us to do a lot of things going into SummerSlam, so I kind of like this. Now, if it is to stop a cash-in, I hope it's to stop the cash-in from happening, not ruin the cash-in and Seth Rollins loses the briefcase. That I don't want to see. Kross replaces Sami Zayn and wins the King of the Ring, then beats Gunther for the World Championship. Hi everyone, I've been on copium for 3 months. I've tried group therapy, but nothing helps when I get 3 minutes of Kross. It's been affecting my life. My wife divorced me, my kids left me hell. Listen, Ray, the first step to recovering from Karrion Kross copium is accepting that you have a problem. And you're not alone. You should see how many people wrote in thinking that Karrion Kross is going to take out so-and-so and take their spot in the King of the Ring final. No. The final boss returns. I can actually weirdly see this if he actually like showed up for work on a more regular basis because of the context of CM Punk and John Cena, with it being so many callbacks to things that they've done in the past. One of the famous callbacks would be to do a callback to the fact that CM Punk was excluded from the WrestleMania 29 rematch between The Rock and John Cena. And we've had CM Punk call out both The Rock, the bald fraud, and call out John Cena numerous times over the last couple of months. Maybe The Rock finally does come back, but I have, by the way, like zero expectation of this. If this does happen, it would be during Cena Punk, I would assume. It would be kind of cool, but I have zero expectations or hopes for this. And if he does come back, it better be to pay something off. It can't just be bad blood all over again where he just goes and then disappears. Sami Zayn will not be in the final, but he will have a match against Karrion Kross in Saudi. That I don't see because I don't see WWE giving Karrion Kross a PLE spot. They barely give him TV time as is. And I actually see Sami Zayn being in the final. Maybe there's a world where Karrion Kross costs Sami Zayn the actual final or the semifinal, but them having a match in Saudi, I don't see it. Sami Zayn wins the King of the Ring finals thanks to a heel turn and an aligning with Karrion Kross. So if Sami Zayn does win the King of the Ring, I could see something like this happening, but not a full-blown heel turn. What if Sami Zayn wins and it is because of interference from Karrion Kross, but he doesn't know. He actually just takes advantage of a down Jey Uso who was attacked by Karrion Kross, and Sami has no idea that happened. It'd be like an inadvertent heel turn. It would allow Karrion Kross to pull the strings even more and puppet master Sami Zayn a little bit further into the dark side, mostly because I don't see Sami Zayn turning like an actual heel in Saudi Arabia. I think and hope for Jey Uso to win, so if John Cena retains the championship, Jey can challenge him for it at SummerSlam, beating John Cena and saving professional wrestling. John Cena versus Jey Uso for the world title actually isn't far-fetched, considering this is already kind of a thing. They already have some beef. You can look at what happened at Money in the Bank. You can look at what happened in the final two of the Royal Rumble match. There's something there between these two. Is it something that I want to see? I'm gonna be honest, the answer is no. Also, if Jey Uso were to win the King of the Ring, based on like the rules of this thing, he would have to challenge the World Heavyweight Champion from Monday Night Raw, but I guess nothing is stopping Jey Uso from just changing over to Friday Night SmackDown. Like the brand split is just a fugazi. We will see the beginning of a Randy Orton heel turn when Cody Rhodes pins him at Night of Champions. So some people don't want to see Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes in the final of the King of the Ring tournament because they feel like it needs a heel Randy. They feel like it needs an actual like bout of hatred between these two. But I'd like to remind you that Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes was one of the best feuds of the last 12 months, and that started with a match between friends at Bash in Berlin, which eventually escalated into one of the most blood feud, like nasty rivalries that the WWE has had in quite some time. So we can get there by starting with a friendly who's the best match between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. It could be Randy loses and he snaps because now the protege is better than the teacher. Karrion Kross causes an injury to Sami or the other finalists taking up their spot. See what I mean? You don't understand how many of these I had to read. This is just delusion. If he were to take out somebody, how would it make sense for Karrion Kross to take their spot? Why wouldn't it make sense for some of the other semifinalists that lost their match? Karrion wasn't even in the tournament, for God's sake. Reigns will return and take out John Cena after his match versus CM Punk. Cody Rhodes will win King of the Ring tournament, and we will get a triple threat John Cena versus Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Again, this would be a fun way to spice up the boring John Cena versus Cody Rhodes match. Adding Roman Reigns in there does add a level of excitement because it adds like a rematch between Cody and Roman. It allows John Cena to run into the Tribal Chief during his retirement tour, so it knocks a couple of birds with one stone. So so I don't hate this. Do I see it happening? I don't know. I feel like Roman Reigns is more destined towards something with Seth Rollins as opposed to doing a program with John Cena. John Cena and Roman Reigns don't have that much history with each other. They've got a couple of matches under their belts, but it's not one of those nostalgia matches that people are like necessarily clamoring to see. But if I were to get it, I wouldn't be mad. Kevin Owens returns from injury and costs Randy Orton the King of the Ring, setting up their match at SummerSlam. This would actually make a tremendous amount of sense if Kevin Owens' injury wasn't as severe as it was, if it wasn't projected that he was going to be out for years. If he was out for a couple of months, this would have been the perfect way to bring back Kevin Owens. All right, folks, thank you so very much for watching today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you've got predictions for Night of Champions, leave them down below. Goodbye, take care, goodbye, get out of here.